All right, good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Had a great trading day. Let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin. Um, for the day, it looks like we had a huge bearish close, right, for Monday's candle. So our high was 64,413 and our low was 61,810. Definitely more of a bearish close here, okay? That being said, I am fairly bullish for this week. This is exactly what you want to see when it comes to, a bullish week basically. You want to see us get a wick down first and then, for the basically the rest of the week, hopefully we bottomed out, but the rest of the week we slowly work our way back up. Um, let's take a real quick look at our weekly candle here. So, yeah, I mean, we are dumping first practically. We did make a little pump up to 64, 413, and then we just basically fell from there. So this is exactly what you want to see when it comes to if we're going to have a bullish week, okay? This is making me very excited, especially it's just Monday and we're already getting that wick to the downside. So this is perfect. Um, going into the 12 hour, it's really going to be interesting to see whether or not we bounce from here or if we have to take out this double bottom right here potentially. I was targeting 61.5, didn't quite make it there. We got to about what was it, 61.810. So not quite there, but there's a potential that we even come down here and take out, down to 60,657 if we pull from this wick right here. So at the very worst case, guys, honestly, I could see 60,657 or the bottom of this order block right here potentially. That would be kind of my area where I would say, okay, from here we should probably get a bounce. So Tuesday we could, especially because we have, I believe, some Fed folder events, we could definitely come down here and visit this area before we start moving back up. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday would be extremely fun if we were to do something like that. Okay, so not too concerned about that. 8 hour we're gonna look to get and stay above the 62,414 area, as well as hopefully we can eventually close above this order block right here. I kept it on the chart mainly because even though we've fulfilled it, it's still price is still looking to stay within this range. So this is a range where there's a lot of buyers and sellers or bots that are trading within this range. So it definitely still is raining as an important range here. The 4 hour had that tweezer bottom, so this is one of those areas where you could have potentially taken a long right here, stop below the wicks. You can see how high you can take it, right? Hopefully to back up to the 21. But that would have only given you like a 2.36 if you were to take it back up to the 21. So not ideal, but what I'm looking for, guys, is I'm looking for us to get back above this 200 MA around 62,729, ideally. Okay. Um, 1 hour. So again, we're getting back above the 21 right there. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's all pointing to, it definitely looks like we could have a bullish week, like I said. The only thing here is that you got kind of a quadruple bottom here on the 1 hour, so eventually that might want to be taken out. But for right now, I gotta say that it's looking good for the bulls, okay? Now, because of we have the Fed event tomorrow, that could actually reverse price, but we'll have to wait and see. 15-minute kind of giving us some sort of Adam and Eve vibe, inverted Adam and Eve vibe. So there's your Adam, there's your Eve coming back up. Um, so I see something like that on the 15-minute. Nothing major though. Let's see. Looking at the 5 minute, 5 minute we got back above the 200 MA, so that looked good. All signs are pointing bullish, guys, for right now. I mean, you got to expect that we have a bullish bias on the smaller time frames. Now, on your meso time frames, I gotta say that I'm still leaning. I've got to lean bearish now because we lost what I wanted to keep, right? Which is the 2 hour, or sorry, 4 hour 200 MA. So by losing that, my assumption is that the trend flipped bearish on those smaller time frames. But it's not like it's a horrible, horrible situation just yet. Okay, we are at the start of the week, so from a timing perspective, this is exactly what you want to see for a bullish week. Okay, you want to see us dumping on Monday. You want to see us possibly recovering on Tuesday, but we could get another dump down. But ideally, this is, this is looking good for the bulls for this week. So be very careful if you're trying to short this because in theory, you could be shorting near the bottom. Okay, so that's just a forewarning. But again, not financial advice ever, but that's something that I'm seeing here. All right, that being said, let's take a look at liquidity and see what happened today. So I'm going to drill down from the 4 hour here. So looking at the 4 hour, so the 4 hour, we almost got to that yellow liquidity. We bounced off of it, so that was starting at around 61.2. I know that we bounced around 61.8. So we were about $600 off from there. Kind of frustrating. It front ran it, but so be it if that's where it's meant to stop, right? we kind of try to estimate where price is going to go, but we don't know exactly, for sure where it's going to go. Now, again, like I've been saying, guys, I am expecting for the very least for this double top to get ran out. Okay, so I'll even put, a marker on here somewhere, right here. 64,685 at the very least, I'm looking for that to get taken out. All right. So if price were to, for some reason flip bearish this week, I want to see it at least first take this double top out before it does that. Get rejected off of this yellow liquidity area before it does that. Now, ideally, if we are going to maintain the bullish bias or based off of time for the week, then you're looking at, 66.6, you're looking at least 65.7. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for this week, okay? Now, from a bearish standpoint, you can see even on Kiyotaka, our free order book, that you have still a lot of orders to the downside. So it could be a false pump for right now. We could just be trying to touch a 21 on a specific time frame, or just kind of, basically have a little bit of a trend up before we trend down. This could definitely be an area of interest. I would say more so tomorrow morning when we do have those Fed events. So if we're meant to come down here, it's going to probably do it tomorrow morning. Okay, and it will do it so violently, wick down, and then come right back up. So that is what I am expecting if we were to get that drop. That is around 61,000 we're looking at, so that's basically down to here, which I can definitely see that because there are orders there, right? You can definitely tell right there. Let's see. Coming up here, this is around 64, starting at 64.7 it looks like. So that's right around the area I told you guys to look out for that double top to get rated, right? So I at least, if we were going to have a bearish week, I at least want to see this get rated first, and then we can come down and visit that. But like I said, there's a good potential that tomorrow we come down here first and then reverse and come back up here. So it's really going to be interesting to see what price wants to do first, but I'm kind of expecting that. Your trend if indicator is kind of showing two opposite things. So like, for example, your daily is at a +2, so your macro is showing bullish, and then your meso, which is your 4 hour, showing a -3, which is bearish, and then your 1 hour is neutral. So it's kind of all over the place. And I have to say, I do understand that. I think that from a daily time frame perspective, the only thing that concerns me, like I told you guys about, is that swing high. So it does look like, we kind of have, let me see if I can zoom out here. We kind of have, a somewhat of a swing high forming potentially. I guess we kind of had it here, but almost an M pattern more so. I wonder where I was seeing. I was thinking it was on the weekly. I was seeing the swing high. Yeah, the weekly is where I was seeing the swing high, but this is more of an M on the daily. So you definitely want to see us recover rather than dump here. Um, so that's something I'm going to be looking out for on the daily time frame. Drilling into the 15-minute now. I'm gonna paint pretty much the same picture, I think. Let me see if I can try to uncheck some of this stuff. So you did dive into some of this liquidity here, and it looks like it takes you up to about 63.4-ish area potentially. So you'd be rating this kind of double top right here at 63,122. So that could be a good local target if you are long, maybe get rejected off of this 200 MA on the 15-minute. But ideally, we want price to consolidate here and bring that 21 back up so we can get that golden cross, right? And same with the 50. Let me take a look here. Yeah, even zooming in more, I mean, this just looks like such a prime candidate for us to take out. right before 65K. That this looks very possible this week, I would say. So definitely keep this on your radar, guys. 64.7 at least, if not getting up higher. We have to see how price reacts there, but um, yeah, I definitely see that happening this week since we dumped so hard for Monday. Let's take a look at the 5 minute finally. I don't think we'll see that much difference here. I'll try to zoom in. Yeah, so zooming in, right there we go. You can see we have enough liquidity to get ourselves back up here. Yeah, 63, 64,000-ish, 63.9-ish, 63.8. So definitely have enough liquidity to get us back up there. But I don't know, guys. I think that, there's a good possibility that we hit both sides tomorrow. I think like I said, maybe we pump for right now for part of the night, and then come the Fed event tomorrow, we dump, we take some of this out or wick off with somewhere around here, and then we come back up and violently and start, railroading the shorts, right? Let's go ahead and take a look because it does look like there's orders on both sides here. This takes you up to 63.8, and this takes you down to 61, thousand even practically. So definitely see a potential for both sides here that we've talked about. Let's take a look at our simple map real quick before we end it and see if we can see anything else here. All right, so taking a look at our simple map, you definitely have some 100x liquidity to the downside. So there are, people that are longing with 100x, that are looking to hopefully not get railroaded soon, but probably eventually. But you do have quite a bit of 50 and 100x liquidity to the upside, at least leading you to about 63.3, which I think we talked about. So I would definitely have, this spike up in mind, 63.360, I think it is, that we could get rejected off of, which I think that's like right about here. Yeah, 63.500. So it's right basically before that, which is pretty interesting. So I would look for 63.360. I would have that on my chart to the upside. To the downside, I would still have that 61.5, 61.6 area, potentially. And then on your swing time frames, which are your 4 hour and your daily, you're looking for, price to base. I mean, you do have more liquidity to lead you to the upside, which is very interesting, right? So looks like even again 63.360, that's going to be the number, right? So you could kind of move your way up tonight, hopefully. But if just keep in mind, guys, if we do move up tonight, there's a good chance that for the Fed event we might get a dump. Okay, so just be very wary of that. Like, don't think that you can just long for the week here because we have that Fed event tomorrow. And I think, was it Warsaw speaking? I'm trying to remember. Let's take a look. Let's see. I need to go to the next page. We got CPI tomorrow. That's for sure. Thought I heard that Warsh was speaking, but maybe not. Oh, here we go. Warsh testifies. So yeah, that's going to be a big one right there at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then you also have the CPI. So yeah, guys, I mean, definitely there's going to be a price reversal more than likely right there. Now, like I said, if we move up for the night, that'll give it an excuse to fall back, and then maybe wick, and that'll be our actual tail for the week, and then we can start moving our way back up again. That's kind of the bias and what I'm expecting. But if we move down tonight, then I would expect for those events to reverse pricing and make it come back up. So, anyways, guys, you have my numbers 61.5, 61.6 to the downside, and then 63.360 ish area to the upside. Okay. But that's all I have for right now, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care.